So we are talking today with Duane Elgin, not only a good friend, but the author of The Living Universe. And we're going to ask him some questions, have him speak to why he wrote the book, what the book's about, and what meaning this book can have in your life.
I was led to write The Living Universe in that I saw that we need a new paradigm of perception if we're going to move from seeing the universe as a place of fragmentation and deadness to seeing it as a place of unification and aliveness. That's a profound shift in perception, and with that shift in perception, we can move towards a more sustainable and a more promising future. But if we just see the earth and the universe as a place of essentially non-living, that it's dead, that we're just here to compete for resources and material advantage, we're going to move into a time of profound conflict and we're going to just pull apart as a human species. So if we're going to pull together, we have to know there's a deeper foundation that we share, a deeper common ground that we share. And the common ground that I see that we share is that we all live in a living universe. We all share the same living universe. We're all trying to learn how to grow in that living universe. And so there are lessons that are now emerging from science, from spirituality, that say, yeah, it is alive, and here are practices for really engaging that aliveness and deepening into that aliveness. And then with that, we have the foundations to really grow into a more promising and sustainable future. Well, this is a very unique time in human history where we are seeing, for example, the world's spiritual traditions revealed in depth, in detail. And for the very first time in human history, I have been able, as a scholar of the world's spiritual traditions, to look at translations from Tibet, from China, in Taoism, Confucianism, Hinduism, and the rest. So the democratization of the world's spiritual traditions is an extraordinary happening in the world right now. And that's the interior sciences, if you will, of inner inquiry. And we can go to the exterior sciences of external inquiry, doing the experiments of science, and through the frontiers of science, that too is revealing the universe to be a living system. And the science that had assumed that the universe was non-living at the foundations, that very science is undoing itself and revealing the universe to be profoundly alive. So these two traditions are coming together now, both the inner and the outer. And they are pointing in the same direction. This direction they point to is a living universe. And by that, like all living systems, it's a regenerative system. There's energy flowing through it. It's regenerating itself moment by moment. We are sitting here in the context of a flowing aliveness that's just flowing through us at every moment. But it's a subtle aliveness that doesn't intrude upon us, that allows us the opportunity and freedom to grow, to learn, to explore. But deep down, when we really do our final exploration, what we encounter is that deep aliveness of a living universe. Let's see, the living planet is very important as an understanding that we do have the Earth as Gaia. And a larger understanding is that the Earth lives within a larger aliveness, and that is the universe as Gaia. It's the Maha-Gaia, the great Gaia of a living universe. And so what we see is life lives within life, lives within life. And so our life is not unique and isolated from the rest of the world. Rather, our life lives within all of these deeper levels of aliveness, the aliveness of the earth, and then the aliveness of a living universe. And our original home, really, as I regard it, is the universe itself, because that has given birth to the earth, and the earth has given birth to us. And so if we really want to rest deeply with where we are, we're going to rest in the aliveness of a living universe. So the whole idea that we're not necessarily who we think we are. When we think about ourselves, typically most people look out at the universe, at the night sky, and they say, oh, it's huge, it's just immense out there. And I'm just this minuscule, tiny little being relative to that vast immensity of stars and galaxies and all the rest. And what science has discovered is extraordinary, I feel. What science has discovered is that if we had a ruler that went from the very largest scale of the known universe with its billions of galaxies, each with hundreds of billions of stars, at the largest scale, and at the smallest scale we go down to way beneath the atom, beneath the quark, down to the smallest known scale in the universe. And if we would say, okay, where is humanity? Where are humans along that scale? And where we are is somewhere in the middle zone. We're actually a little bit on the big side. And that means there's more smallness within us than there is bigness beyond us. There's more smallness inside than there is bigness outside. And that to me just transforms how I regard things around me. And if I'm a giant, one of the things that I typically do if I'm a giant, I will overlook things at the very small. And so if the universe is regenerating itself moment by moment, that activity is happening at a very microscopic scale. And as giants living in the middle zone of the universe, it will be easy for us to overlook that if we're not paying attention. So therefore, pay attention. The role of meditation and paying attention is very important. Let's step back and look for a moment at the universe, and then we'll regard ourselves within it. Okay. One thing we now know about the universe is that 96% of the universe is invisible. And what we see around us in terms of the physical matter constitutes only 4% of the known universe. 96% is invisible, and that's either dark matter or dark energy. It's dark meaning you can't see it. Now, if 96% of the universe is invisible, it's an energy of one form or another, how much of ourselves is invisible? When the material parts of ourselves dies, is there 96% that perhaps lives on? Or maybe more than that? So if we just take a little bit of a lesson from the existing universe as we know it, we can infer that probably a large part of ourselves is invisible. And if we go to the world spiritual traditions and ask, well, what are the qualities of that invisible part of ourselves? What comes back again and again are qualities like these. We inside are an invisible body of light, an invisible body of love, music and knowing. And if you go to physics, right now physics is talking about string theory. String theory is about resonance. Resonance is really music. And string theory and physics is saying it's all music. The entire universe is one vast orchestration. Well, that's exactly what we find when we go to the world's spiritual traditions. They say your soul, your interior body, is a body of music. And there's a great sound in the universe, and there's a sound that your soul makes, and we each have a unique song line of the soul. In a similar way, as a body of light, love, music, and knowing, we are all of these invisible, subtle qualities. And we can cultivate and grow these qualities in the context of this living universe. And that, to me, is why we're here. We're here to learn how to live in a living universe. And what lives in a living universe are the qualities of the soul's body, a body of light, love, music, and knowing. So really, the physical body is, as I like to think of it, a biodegradable vehicle for acquiring soul-growing experiences.